Right now the crypto market is on fire, and one coin that is suddenly grabbing massive attention is Zcash, also known as ZEC. At this moment, ZEC is trading around $267, and what's really turning heads today is the fact that it has already pumped nearly 12% in just a single day. Now if you've been in crypto long enough, you already know, coins don't just randomly move like this without a reason. When something like Zcash starts pumping this hard, it usually means something bigger could be building behind the scenes. And that's exactly what makes this moment so interesting. Because right now, most people are focused on trending altcoins, meme coins, or whatever is hyped on social media. But smart money, they always look at projects that have strong fundamentals, real use cases, and most importantly, a narrative that can explode at the right time. And Zcash fits perfectly into that category. So in today's video, we're going deep. We're not just going to talk about this 12% pump. We're going to understand what's really happening in the market, why ZEC is suddenly moving, what big players might be planning, and most importantly, where this coin could realistically go by 2026. Because if this trend continues, Zcash might surprise a lot of people. Now before we jump into price predictions, let's understand why Zcash even exists and why it still matters in 2026 discussions. Most cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and even Ethereum are transparent by design. Every transaction is recorded publicly, which is great for security and trust, but not so great for privacy. Anyone can track wallet addresses, analyze transactions, and sometimes even connect identities to those wallets. And this is where Zcash becomes different. Zcash was designed with one core purpose: financial privacy. It uses advanced cryptography known as zero-knowledge proofs, specifically ZKS and ARKS, which allow transactions to be verified without revealing sensitive information. That means users can send and receive funds without exposing their transaction details to the entire world. Now think about the importance of that. In a time where digital surveillance is increasing, governments are tightening regulations, and financial tracking is becoming more common, privacy is no longer just a feature, it's becoming a demand. And when demand meets the right technology, that's when explosive growth can happen. Now coming back to the present moment, this 12% pump in ZEC is not just a random spike. There are multiple factors that could be driving this move. One of the biggest reasons is market rotation. When large-cap coins stabilize or slow down, traders start looking for undervalued opportunities. Zcash has been relatively quiet compared to other altcoins, which makes it a perfect candidate for sudden attention. When traders realize that a coin hasn't moved yet but has strong fundamentals, they jump in early. Another reason could be the return of the privacy narrative. Crypto markets move heavily on narratives. At one time it was DeFi, then NFTs, then AI coins, and now we might be slowly seeing the return of privacy-focused assets. If this narrative picks up momentum, Zcash could be one of the biggest beneficiaries. Zcash is still trading far below its historical highs. That means from a long-term perspective, it still has a lot of room to grow. And this is exactly what attracts long-term investors. They look for assets that have proven potential but are currently undervalued. At the same time, the broader crypto market is slowly positioning itself for the next big cycle. If the market enters a strong bullish phase over the next couple of years, altcoins with strong narratives and real use cases could see massive growth. And privacy coins like Zcash could play a key role in that cycle. Now let's talk about the future, specifically 2026. Because this is where things get really interesting. If the crypto market continues to grow and adoption increases globally, Zcash could see significant price appreciation. In a moderate growth scenario, where the market expands steadily but without extreme hype, ZEC could potentially reach the $400 to $600 range by 2026. This would require consistent demand, steady adoption, and a supportive market environment. But if we enter a strong bull market, where capital flows aggressively into altcoins and narratives like privacy gain traction, Zcash could go much higher. In such a scenario, it's not unrealistic to imagine ZEC reaching $800 to $1,200 during peak market conditions. And then there's the extreme scenario, If privacy becomes a major global concern, if regulations push users toward private transactions, and if Zcash manages to position itself as a leading solution, the price could potentially go even beyond $1,500 during the peak of a major bull cycle. Privacy coins often face regulatory challenges. Some exchanges have already delisted privacy-focused cryptocurrencies in certain regions due to compliance concerns. If regulations become stricter, it could limit accessibility and affect demand. Competition is another factor. Other privacy-focused projects are also developing new technologies, which means Zcash needs to continue innovating to stay ahead. But despite these challenges, the recent 12% pump shows one thing very clearly. Zcash is not dead. In fact, it might just be waking up. And in crypto, when a strong project starts moving after a long period of silence, it often signals the beginning of something bigger. So as we move closer to 2026, all eyes will be on how Zcash evolves, how the privacy narrative develops, and how the overall market behaves. Because if everything aligns, today's price around $267 could end up looking very small in hindsight. And that's exactly why moments like this are so important. Because sometimes, the biggest opportunities appear when the market is just starting to pay attention again.